Hey everyone, Dan here. Before we get into it, if you enjoy these videos, please hit the like and subscribe button. It helps a lot. And also keep in mind, these are my own thoughts, opinions, and ideas. These are not meant to be, nor should you take them as investment or trading advice in any way, shape, or form. Do your own due diligence, put in the work for yourself, and make your decisions based on that. Enjoy. All right, taking a quick look here at Robinhood, starting off on the weekly time frame. A couple of things that I would note. One, there is this 1910 resistance level that I think is probably the most important from the weekly perspective for it to flip from resistance to support if it really wants to unleash a run. Additionally to that, this downtrend resistance, which captures the most recent, say, 5 weeks or so, it needs to be broken, right? This is obviously for the bulls. For the bears, there is no like lower price on this chart than this 1475, which came in recently. So to the bears, it would just be, continue to see it butt its head against this and not break through. The other bullish sign that it is going to be able to reverse trend, break through, would be to get rid of this, right? Break through this downtrend resistance from weeks gone by when it was in the 30s and probably feeling much better. There we go. Put in a couple of other things that are probably going to be friction points or points of resistance along the way. I know this gets to be kind of tight in, though realistically as a percentage it's not, but it was in this range, right? And then it broke the range and now it's trying to make its way back in there. So there's sort of two scenarios in my mind. Either it could come back into this range and sort of continue to consolidate, or it could be reconfirming resistance here and then it would be pushing down further. So I'd be very, very curious to see what it does at this like a high 16 level, which may just sort of psychologically act as like a $17 level, to be honest. And then if it's able to make its way through there, I would look for some friction here around 21, but there might be, because this drawdown was so quick, there might be some decent run rooms between here. I mean, even $1 or $2 for a stock at this price is a decent percentage gain. So there could be some solid spaces in here if it's able to reverse trend, but it's a big job to reverse a trend. I know I say this in many, many videos, but don't discount how challenging it is to reverse trend. And I'd look very, very closely for these signs that we've talked about in the video. All right, that's Robinhood. Taking a look at NIO here on the weekly chart now, this stands out to me predominantly, this retracement, this Fibonacci retracement from this low down here in the $10 range to this high up here just shy of $67. And we've seen it make its way down, retrace its path through the various levels, and recently flipped the 618 level from support to resistance. And now my question is, and I posed this question I think a week or two ago on Twitter, is this really headed down to test this like $22, $23 level? I don't know, but it's this motion is pretty challenging, and especially to figure out if it is respecting these levels. I don't know 100% that it is, obviously, but it seemed to do a good job of working its way through them in logical ways. It does appear that it may be flipping it to resistance and it may be coming down to test that. I don't know. The way for that to not happen, obviously, is for it to reclaim $32 and, strongly base over that so that it can make a run at $38 right over there. Now, the other things of note to my mind are this downtrend support that you see here, that even if it followed the support line down, would eventually, this would be like late summer, fall, put it toward that $22 level, $23 level. To the flip side of that, if it's able to break this downtrend resistance that we see here, that would mean that it would need to show strength all the way into the 40s at this point if it's going to do it anytime relatively soon. So I don't know that it has that sort of muster in it, but we'll see. But yeah, those to me are the most important things on the weekly. Now, if we zoom in a bit on the daily chart here, you can see this looking very, very much like a channel, right? Those support and resistance levels, and right now situated toward the bottom of the channel, if you want to consider it that. So the question is, will it make a run up? Will it just sort of continue to base and consolidate below this $32 level? And if so, does that mean that it has really flimsy support below it? to me, it's a bit of waiting and seeing how these things play out, but it's putting in some consolidation motion here, and I'm interested to see how that's going to go. All right, that's NIO. Taking a look here at TLRY, on the weekly chart, you see a couple of things. One is this downtrend resistance that was briefly broken, but then it came down and did that thing that we all too often see when we're hoping for a reversal, which is it just continues to follow that resistance line down, but just happens to be on the other side of it. So it sort of flips it from downtrend resistance to downtrend support, which is not the kind of support that you want. Now, more recently, it's caught under this downtrend resistance on the weekly, and it's trying to peak itself above there this week with the recent run-up, but it's struggling a bit with it at the moment. So to me, I'm most interested in that, and if it can base over this 768 level. To me, that has the best chance to indicate that a reversal could be coming. But trend reversals are very, very hard. And they don't often come exactly how you think that they will. So being patient and kind of like waiting to decipher the price action as it goes, I think is wildly beneficial when trying to execute a trade for a potential reversal. So don't discount how challenging they are. Now, if we zoom in a bit to the daily, you see here we're putting in these three most recent candles. So this was a big gap up day. So the question then looms, is this going to threaten to come back down to the high to mid sixes to fill this gap? It filled it in a bit yesterday, but I don't know that it quite made the connection. Maybe. This wick to that one is very, very close. So I think that that's kind of a question in my mind. But like I said, here it is, the 768 level. You see how important it is, flipping most recently from support to resistance. It wrestled with it for a while there. And I do think that that's very, very key. And then, there's probably some friction here around the 850 level, but there might be some really solid run room for this if it can get above $8 to go strongly toward 10, which is a huge percentage gain. And to me, that would sort of unlock the best opportunity for like a longer term trend reversal. But that's what I'm looking for. Lots to do on TLRY. Taking a quick look here at AMC. So on the weekly chart, a couple of things that I would note. One, yes, there's all these resistance levels above here. That's because I've been tracking it as previous support levels on the way down. So I'm leaving those in for the time being because I would say that these are now pretty solid resistance levels. But the trend lines are what I'm most interested in at the moment, as well as this purple box. So let me talk through that. So nearest in downtrend resistance level is right here in yellow. And so what I think AMC really needs in order to effectuate a breakout based on the chart, not talking about anything else, but focus on the chart, is push through that level and then see what it does at this like $31 level. It'll definitely have some friction right around here too, right? This like 27.5 level, which was previous support here, and then it recently fell through. So that's one, and then there's this larger, right? So if it's going to make a bigger move, meaning get back into the 30s anytime soon, certainly if it is able to make a run into the 40s or toward the 40s anytime soon, it will need to wrestle with and break this downtrend resistance level. That could be a very strong move if it's able to do it, because this is a weekly chart, so that's very long-standing resistance. Now, this purple box is a bounce zone that has been holding up now for several weeks. I just talked about this previous support level, but this wick did stretch down, touch this area. Last week it touched this area. This week again it's touching this area, but continues to want to kind of get bought up at that, say, $20-ish level, just above $20. And so I would look for that to continue to remain the same. Now, that happens over the course of the next several weeks. Then it will run itself into this essentially like descending triangle formation. And it would be interesting to see what happens if it compresses the price action closer and closer in to this nexus point. What happens there. Quickly looking at the daily here, the other thing I look for is if it continues to accumulate here, right, and bases over this box, which way it breaks when it breaks the range that it's building here on the daily chart. All right, that's AMC. All right, taking a look at Peloton. Now, Peloton having this huge drawdown, this week of November 5th, coming down almost 40% in that week. And then since then, putting in this downtrend channel as well. And just this week so far, looking to shoot itself out of the channel by way of consolidation. So topped out the upper bound of the channel the last few weeks, and now puts in a sideways motion. So we'll see if it's able to start consolidating in this range, sort of basing above, say, $35 is what I look for it to start to show some strength, where it can push toward that like $39 level, which may, in practicality, act more like a $40 level, even though it's not necessarily super reflective of these candles, but we'll have to see. First things first, I think, get some basing over $35, and if not, I could see it coming down and needing to test this like $30 level. I know I have it in there at $29.31, which comes from many moons ago when it was trading in that range. See that over here, that's where I pulled it from. But again, practically speaking, that may act more as a $30 support level, just the psychological sort of gravity of that round $30 level. Now, if we come to the daily chart, you can see this a bit more clearly, how it's playing out on the daily recently, and this then exposes this huge gap down, right? So the big question here is, on this big gap down, this day that it dropped 35%, which is crazy town. This gap stretches from about $62 to about $86. So it is an enormous gap, and it would be an enormous upside from where the stock is trading at this point. Now the question is, will it make any motion to come back and fill it anytime soon? I know that there's all of these stats and out there about filling gaps, and fills these gaps 90% of the time, yada, yada, yada. Well, yes, given enough time, enough decades or years, it probably moves through every price point. But my question is, does it make any intentional motion to fill this anytime soon? And it all starts with this $35 level, in my opinion. All right, that's Peloton.